Hi guys, it's Shane from Blind Dog Blades here again. It's a cold, miserable, snowy day here in Utah. We got about 6 inches of snow dumped on us and I've been out shoveling snow all day. So I put my sweats on and come into the shop and warming up a little bit. I had a few requests for a video of my forge, so there it is. Let's start at the base. Base is actually off of an old barber chair. It's good and heavy, it's sturdy. It rotates. It's also got hydraulics and I can pump it up or lower it. I don't know if I'd ever use that feature, but I got it if I need it. And I just welded a piece of square tubing to it and mounted the forge on top of that. I also mounted a couple pieces of cut-off pipe on the side so I can store tongs or my long matchsticks I use to light the forge and stuff in it. The tank, it started out as one of them yellow tanks from Harbor Freight. A friend gave it to me. I think you can pick them up for like 20 bucks. So they're cheap. And then the burners, they're based off of a design by Ron Rill. I think that's how you say his last name. R-E-I-L. So I used his design and just made a couple modifications. So this video, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail of how I made it. There's tons of YouTube videos, so you can do some research and learn off of those. But I did do a couple things different on my burners. So on the burners, the nozzle is a piece of stainless steel pipe. You can get that at the plumbing store. So the end of the stainless steel pipe, I flared it out. To do that, I just made a mandrel. It's got a 5-degree taper on it. I heated up the stainless steel pipe and then forced it over the mandrel. That flared the ends out. It doesn't take much. Then the stainless steel pipe slips over a piece of black pipe. This is just 3/4 inch black pipe, 8 inches long. Then a 3/4 by 1.5 inch bell reducer. Then 1.5 inch nipple. For the airflow adjustment, I welded a stud inside the nipple here. And then made this, I don't know what the hell you call it, disc out of a piece of aluminum so I can adjust the airflow running through the burner. And that works really good. Now the valves, these are off of an old Victor oxyacetylene torch. I just picked the whole valve or the whole torch up at the swap meet. You find these all the time at swap meet, pick them up for 5 or 10 bucks. And these make great valves. They're easy to adjust. They have a backflow preventer in them, and they work really good. And I've just mounted a shut-off valve, and the hose runs down to a regulator. Now the regulator I'm using, I believe, is for acetylene. And I have read that you shouldn't use acetylene on propane. Propane can eat out the sills. And then I've also read that it's not a problem, so it's up to you to decide which way you want to go. I've had this on here for a couple years and you can see it's still holding pressure. Everything's off. I can shut this off and come back next weekend and it'll still have pressure, so it doesn't leak. But if you want to go another route, you can get these off of Amazon or Tractor Supply. This was made by Mr. Heater. It's a 20-pound propane regulator. 20 pounds should be plenty, and you can also get them in 30 pounds. Another thing on these burners, the tubing running through here looks like copper pipe, but it's not. I actually took a piece and cut it off of an old torch. Just cut that section off. You see it's pretty thick pipe. It's only got about a 1/16 inch hole, so I took and drilled a 1/4 inch hole through it. The reason I did that was so the sidewall was thick enough that I could drill and tap and put the orifice in there. And for the orifice, I just use a MIG tip. These are Lincoln's 35 thou opening in it. You can see I also got pressure gauge on each burner. When I'm running it, I'll usually run about 2.5 pounds on this front burner and about 1 pound on the back burner. When I originally made this, I figured I'd just use a front burner most of the time and let the back one off. And what would happen is the heat would come out of the front burner, swirl around, and then the chimney effect, it would run back up the back burner, heat all this up. I was worried about these gauges melting and doing some damage, so I originally made a plug that I could stick up inside and plug that off so the heat wouldn't rise up. But the forge would heat up, things would expand, I'd bump it with a piece of metal and this would fall out. So now I just run the back burner all the time with it. Like I said, I put it on about 1 pound, even a 1/2 pound, and that's enough pressure to keep the gas from rising up through that back, or keeping the heat from rising up through that back burner. So like I said, the burner tank is just an old air, or not an old, it was actually new, it was given to me, but it's an air tank from Harbor Freight. Cut the openings in the front and the back. I also made a door on it. I don't open that very often, but every once in a while I'll get a piece that's just a little bit too wide to fit through the door. So we've got 2 inches of K-wall insulation. And I've got about 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch of satinite. And then just a wash coat of ITC 100. In the bottom, I've got about 1 inch, 1.5 of the K-wall. And then 2-inch thick fire bricks sitting on top of that. Got a couple fire bricks on the front, also one on the back. I can close off when I'm heating up the forge, and that helps it heat up faster. Got a little stand that slides out here for longer material. So give me a sec and I'll get this turned on. see how adjusting that airflow affects your flame. And it really doesn't take a whole lot of air to get a good flame. This is running at 2.5 pounds. There's a back burner at 1 pound. So that, like I said, that's 2.5 pounds. That's 10 pounds. I'd never run it that high. I'll get it up to 5 pounds when I'm forward welding. And like I said, most of the time I'm around 2.5, 3 pounds. So it doesn't take long for it to get up to temperature. Usually running around 1800 degrees. It's been maybe 5 minutes at the most. See, it's nice and hot in there. The outside, it's not too terribly hot. At 100 and, what did I say, 140 degrees. But it will get hot. You run that thing all day and you can see it's burnt the paint off. I originally painted it silver, used some 2200 degree high temperature paint. Didn't like the color, so I threw some red on there. I thought it was high temperature brake caliper paint, but it was an old can, I couldn't read it. And obviously you can see it wasn't. It's burned off and slowly making its way back to silver again. But either way, it works. It's ugly, but it'll do the job. So that's probably about it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you like the video, hit the like button. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. I'm posting more and more blacksmithing videos, so hopefully I have some good content coming up. Thanks for watching.